Welcome everyone to As That's Me. Thank you for tuning in. Today I wanted to point out a few things that were kind of brushed off by the mainstream media, the mainstream media. And I wanted to point out how these things were blamed on our last president, on President Trump, and how nobody did anything about it, and how nobody pointed out the hypocrisy. But I've been paying attention, so I know. So I kind of wanted to talk about that. So let's get into it. um Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico. Now, back when Hurricane Maria happened, I remember that they were criticizing Trump and how he was handling all this, and how he didn't send any they were, alleging that he didn't send any supplies for them, how he was a racist, alleged racist, and how he didn't care about the people of Puerto Rico. And to be honest, I'm Puerto Rican, so when I heard this, I was like, wow, that's some messed up shit. Like, and to be honest, at the time, I like I said, I wasn't into politics like that. But when I heard this, I was so upset. I was like, wow, that's really messed up. Like, this is kind of ridiculous. I don't know what this guy's thinking, but it's not cool. So, just the background about Hurricane Maria. Hurricane Maria was a deadly Category 5 hurricane that devastated Dominica, St. Croix, and Puerto Rico in September of 2017. It is regarded as the worst natural disaster in recorded history to affect those islands, and was also the deadliest Atlantic hurricane since Mitch in 1998. Okay, total fatalities were over 3,000. The highest wind speed was 174 miles, and it went on from September 16th to October 2nd. So, and it was a Category 5 hurricane. The affected areas were Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Dominica, um, the Bahamas, Martinique, Haiti, and the Turks and Caicos, U.S. Virgin Islands, and the Lesser Antilles. So, guys, it was a big thing. So, understandably, the people of Puerto Rico were really upset that they weren't getting the help that they needed. And I completely understand where they're coming from. It's completely understandable. So let's go back in time and let's see what these things were. And first, I want to point out something else before I talk about the Puerto Rico thing. I just wanted to mention that first. Um, you know, Going back on the alleged racist thing. Um, I remember that when Trump decided to build the wall and he decided to put his agenda forward, people were calling him a racist and that how he didn't like immigrants, and how, he said a bunch of things. And like I said, I have videos here that I'm going to show you that it shows him being in a light that, it's not really, like, I remember that when this whole Puerto Rico thing happened, I remember them telling me that he threw paper towels and how he didn't care, and how, like I said, like that he supposedly that he had taken his time to send supplies to Puerto Rico, and I was pissed. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I do have the video, and when I saw it, I was like, wow, it is true. He did do that, and I did see it back then too, and but I want to show you the other side to this. There's always another side, so let's get to it. Also, like I said, the immigrants were coming in, and basically, supposedly that they were blaming Trump because supposedly they used tear gas on them. And I want to show you the flip side in that story as well. So let's get into the first video. I want to share my screen so we can definitely get into it, because it's it's some unbelievable stuff, guys. It's too much. So, and I also want to point out this video is called, basically, this video is talking about if the photos of that day of the people getting, allegedly tear gas, were fake or not. Now, I want to point out I actually saw an actual documentary pointing out all um, the reasons why this person thought these were fake, and I saw it and I was like, wow, this is kind of
Right now,
ridiculous.
thousands of migrants
So, before I show you this video,
from Central
one
America are
second. Let
waiting
me
in
just.
makeshift shelters in Tijuana, Mexico for
Sorry, guys.
the
My
opportunity to apply for asylum in the United States. Yesterday,
computer is buffering. So basically, um, I saw a documentary basically stating it showed how there were reporters all over the place. There were people laughing and smiling, and you know they showed the actual bottles of tear gas
they
and how these were props that you could have bought in for like a TV shoot and
protested,
stuff like
hoping to
that.
put pressure
One second, let
on
me
the
just
U.S.
pause this.
government. The demonstrations turned to chaos when a group of migrants rushed a border fence. As Sunday's protests progressed,
Okay,
several
so basically, it was showing how basically that these were props and how this was all staged basically. So basically, in order to make Trump look bad, they did this and they staged it, and how they were saying how they were being thrown at women and children and all this, and people really put on the theatrics. And this video, it shows how the way that they're dressed doesn't make sense. If they were walking that far and that long, that their clothes would have been clean, they wouldn't have been as clean as they were. The shoes, it didn't make sense. The shoes that they were, they were flip-flops that were clean and brand new. um all the children had Disney clothes on. Where did they get this Disney clothes? And they were brand new. Like Disney in the US costs money. I don't know over, in other places. I don't know how much it costs. I don't know this. I don't know how to compare it. But like I said, these clothes were brand new. They were clean. So it just didn't make sense. If you're traveling for that long, wouldn't you be dirty somehow, some way? Wouldn't it show that? It just didn't make any sense. And for a mother coming from another country, it doesn't make sense how you left your babies in diapers. Like you were really putting on the theatrics in this one. Like I'll show you this. This is kind of ridiculous, but I'll let the video play. You can see for yourself. Let's start it over.
migrants from Central America are waiting in makeshift shelters in Tijuana, Mexico for the opportunity to apply for asylum in the United States. Yesterday, they protested, hoping to put pressure on the U.S. government. The demonstrations turned to chaos when a group of migrants rushed a border fence. As Sunday's protests progressed, several images sparked outrage online. Some commentators even claiming the images were fake. Hope Ford did some research to separate the facts from fiction. Hope?
Yeah, that's right. So these two pictures you're
Now, I want to point out how quickly that they were trying to basically fact check these allegations. It was just too quick. Like they were just like, nope, this is the reason why they were there. They they're gonna show certain things. They're gonna say why reporters were there. They were gonna say why cameramen were there. They're gonna say a bunch of things. But guys, like just let's think about the facts here. Like this is convenient how quickly they wanted to fact check this and say, no, 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 this is real. Like this is not. These were real pictures.
seeing right here, they quickly became viral after people, celebrities, politicians began sharing them on social media. And some say, or claim rather, that both of these photos are fake. So are they?
This picture shows a mother running away from tear gas with two children. Another photo began circulating, claiming this photo was staged by the media because of visible cameramen in the background, a group of people standing around, and what looks like one person
And
posing.
look at this guy over here, like in between, right next to the square, the kid that the actual arrow is pointing to. Like he looks like he's playing, like he's having a good old time, like nothing, like his feet are in the air, just hanging out. If you're running and if you're running for your life, you wouldn't have this. Like this looks like a hangout. I'm just saying.
in front of a camera. Several posts also pointed to several news agencies using the same photo as proof of media staging. Here's the facts. The photo was snapped by Kim Kyung-hoon, a photographer with Reuters. Reuters is an international news agency other news agencies like CNN, NBC, and Fox can subscribe to, explaining why multiple outlets used the same image. Since this is now an international story, it would be understandable why there's multiple cameramen visible in the background.
Doesn't make any sense. That's too much Cameron. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make any sense. There were people. It just doesn't make any sense. You'll see.
And finally, the picture shows what appears to be a can of tear gas on the ground and smoke coming up next to the woman and her children. Looking at the background of the picture where the people are standing, there doesn't appear to be a can of tear.
Now look at she's wearing Disney. The kids have only diapers on, no shoes on. It's just too much. It's just exaggeration to the max. So keep that in mind.
Gas near them. This explains why the crowd is standing and the woman and her children are running. Moving on to this image of the same mother and one of her children taken from another angle by the same photographer. Several people were quick to slam this as being fake, claiming no tear gas was used. However, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection tweeted, quote, "Today, several migrants threw projectiles at the agents in San Diego. Border Patrol agents deployed tear gas to dispel the group because of the risk to agents' safety." In addition to the tweet, photos from several other media agencies, including Getty Images, as well as various local and national news reporters, show tear gas and men and women running from the tear gas with shirts covering their mouths.
So in conclusion, both of these photos appear to be very real, not staged, and a direct reaction to the events unfolding around them. Now, President Donald Trump defended the use of tear gas today, telling reporters, quote, they had to use it because they were being rushed by some very tough people.
Okay, so that's that. Okay, so that's the video that I'm going to show you. This is what they said that happened. Now check this out. It's just ridiculous, to be honest.
So do you want to have $1 million smile but pay less than $100 a month?
We are talking about the new invisible aligners system.
Sorry guys, it looks like it's not responding. Give me a second. I don't know why my internet is acting crazy today. I don't know what's happening. Let me get you that video, guys, one more time. Give me 1 second. Let me just get it to go. Okay. Looks like it's going to play by itself. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry about this. I really want to point this video out because it actually shows, it says everything that I want you guys to hear. All right, so let me share my screen again so we can get this started and I can point out and give you my point of view on this because you're going to be like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, let's get this going again. Here we go.
Only allow you to get your birth control delivered right to your door. It actually allows you to get prescribed by a doctor.
Here we go, right
well, the
there.
migrant caravan invasion, unquote, and the word myth on the screen. It's a myth, a pernicious one, too. Is it actually a myth? Well, filmmaker Ami Horowitz decided to find out himself. He went to Mexico looking for this fake caravan. He found a real caravan, and he filmed it. Here's part of what he found.
Despite the framing of the caravan as being full of women and children, the reality on the ground is quite different. Approximately 90 to 95% of the migrants were male. The major narrative being pushed by the press has been that the migrants are leaving Honduras because they're escaping extreme violence and that their lives are under constant threat, setting up the strategy that they would be able to enter the US by asking for asylum. So I started by asking them a simple question. Why are you coming to America?
Bueno, voy buscando una mejor vida económica.
There's a massive logistical effort underway, akin to moving an army, and is clearly costing someone millions of dollars for the transportation, food, water, medicine, and services that are being provided for the members.
All right, let's just point that out right there. So he just said that obviously the food, the medicine, the water, everything is being taken care of. Who's paying for all this? Let's be serious, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is all staged, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? This came out on Fox News. This was back in November, and this was after the whole caravan thing happened. So let's get that clear. It's crazy because they put out that they had everybody thinking that he was evil and how he this is what he was about, like, basically. And now look, it's fake, it's staged, it's basically, it has been funded. So you tell me, what would you believe? Sorry about this, guys. I don't know what's going on today. Okay, let's see.
Of the caravan. The Mexican government also seems to be sending police to escort the dozens of buses and trucks that are ferrying the migrants and
Now look at
supplies.
that, guys. Supposedly the Mexican police was actually like escorting these people to the borders of the US. Like that what is going on here? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be serious. Obviously, who's funding the police over there? Let's be serious.
Along the route to the next destination. Ever present among the thousands of migrants are workers of Pueblo Sin Fronteras.
4 more
clad
buses
in
are
black
coming.
T-shirts and colored vests. Pueblo Sin Fronteras means people without borders. They're the ones that seem to be most involved in organizing and mobilizing this caravan. The organization, as the name implies, is looking to create a world without borders, which seems to be one of the reasons why they organized this caravan in the first place, to flout American sovereignty. While it does seem as the majority of these migrants are friendly and simply trying to make a better life for themselves and their families, there's an undeniable element of the migrants who are violent and dangerous. And many of the migrants know this, and some have experienced it.
Yes, there may be some bad people here. Look at this is people that are actually coming from they're part of the not part of the same group, but they're coming with the migrants all together. He says, yes, there may be some bad people here. Now, think about that. If that percentage of people come to the US and they're bad, you think about it. Like, that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just bringing unnecessary trouble that we don't need, you know? Look at that. He said that he's like, we've been verbally and physically attacked. Like, there have been violence against them from the people within too.
It seems to me that there are leftist organizations that are using these migrants as a tool to push a certain political agenda.
Political agenda. Once again, guys, like, this wouldn't be happening. They're just trying to make them look bad. And nobody, the media wasn't covering this back then. When this came out, nobody talked about it. Nobody fact checked it. Nobody said anything. They didn't want to talk about this after that. It was just, basically, nope. They kept going that he's a racist, that he doesn't like immigrants, that he doesn't like Spanish people, he doesn't like this. It's just, it's too much. It's too much. When you don't have a system of the way of, immigrants being able to come into the country, this is how bad things happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people, like, yes, a lot of them do want to come here to get work. A lot of them want to be better people. A lot of them want to have a better life from what they're experiencing now. And that's okay. I get it. But there is rules. And with everything, you have to follow the rules. You can't just have us over here in the United States following the rules, and then you come over here illegally, and then, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. We have to all follow the rules. It doesn't make sense. And I get it. There are certain circumstances, human trafficking. I get it. If coming over here is the only way of like being able to get free from that, I get that. There are certain circumstances that I believe that people should be able to stay here. I get that. I get it. I get it. I get it. But this is not the way.
Which includes the weakening of American sovereignty and our border security. And unfortunately, these migrants are going to be caught in the crossfire.
Ami Horowitz joins us tonight. That was really interesting. The thing that jumped out at me was how, as you said, well organized it was. Do we have any sense who's paying for this? I know we're not allowed to speculate, but do we know that answer?
We don't. We know what we do know is this whole thing cost millions and millions of dollars. And the mainstream media, and there's so many layers to this onion to peel back, it's hard to know where to begin. But one of the lies, the fake news, if you will, that the mainstream media is trying to propagate is the fact that this is all this weird, this organic thing, and all the water and the food and the medicine all dropped from manna from heaven. It's baloney. It's all highly organized. It's paid for by a number of organizations. We don't know exactly where the money is coming from. We do know that Pueblo Sin Frontera, which is the main group which is organized this caravan, has a couple of front organizations in the United States. And the money is flowing from them to Pueblo Sin Fronteras. We know there are some leftist groups. I know it's forbidden to say that Soros is part of it, but Soros has in fact funded at least some of those groups in the past.
Ding, 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 ding.
So we don't know where the money is exactly coming from. We know it's not coming from Honduras.
So why would, it's such an interesting and obvious question. Who's paying for this? Why haven't other news organizations gotten to the bottom of this? You're one man. You're doing this independently. Why isn't NBC News or ABC or PBS, why aren't they on this?
Oh, come on. You know the answer to that. They
Exactly.
don't want to get to the bottom of it.
Exactly.
They have no interest politically in getting to the bottom of it. It's the same reason why when you see a photo in the New York Times, the Washington Post, or a video in CNN or the BBC or MSNBC, what do you see? You see the entire framing are women and children, when the reality is so far from the truth. 90 to 95% of all the people in this caravan are men.
Now, in the video that I just showed you, what did they show you? A woman and her children. The exaggeration is what I'm trying to point out, is that look at what he's saying. He's actually went to Puerto Rico, checked it out himself, found the caravan, and this is what he saw there. Majority, 90 to 95%, were men. But you know what they focused on that, that dreadful day that they all got tear gassed, allegedly. They focused on the women and children. And then the woman that had children with no shoes on, just, they made it look poor as possible. The kids had no pants on. They were walking in diapers with no shoes on. Does that make sense? Would a logical parent walk with her kid with no shoes on? No, like, seriously, a parent would not let their kid walk with no shoes on. I don't care about your education. I don't care about your race. I don't care about anything. If you had children, you'd be carrying them. Or you would have figured out how to find a way to wrap their feet in something. That doesn't make any sense. Logically, it doesn't make sense. They made it look worse than what it was. And look what he said. The majority were men.
Although I do apologize for assuming their gender.
They're liars. That's the answer. That's why
that's basically what it comes down to.
Liars. Thank you for that. That was valuable and really interesting. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to point out with that one, right? So basically, boom, they said one thing and it was obviously the exact other. Now, this is that video that I told you that he did what he did. He threw he ended up throwing the paper towels to the people when he really should have handed it to people. He shouldn't have been throwing it like that. And I agree. And that just made him look bad. I don't know if that made him feel better, that he was trying to say, here, you get one, you take some stuff. I don't know. I don't know if they told him to do that. I don't know. All I know, it wasn't a good mood. It didn't look right. So this is the one that makes him look like a jerk. I'm not going to lie to you. This is what I saw before, like I said, that I was actually fact checking and actually looking into this, to everything. This is what I saw, and it pissed me off. I'm not going to lie to you. This is what I saw, and I was like, what in the hell is going on? And then I started to realize later, as you know, tiny bits of what I'm going to show you came out. I was like, wait a minute. What? It doesn't make any sense, but nobody's talking about that. You know, sometimes you just, you know, sometimes things stick out and you're like, wait a minute, why isn't anybody like focusing on this point? So let's get into it.
At the White House tonight, President Trump taking aim at Puerto Rico, home to millions of Americans as they were staring down a natural disaster. The president calling Puerto Rico, quote, one of the most corrupt places on earth. His Democratic rivals now firing back. This is the Trump administration is also choosing at the height of the hurricane season to divert millions in FEMA disaster funds to border security. ABC's Kira Phillips is at the White House.
Just remember that he did divert the money, but we're going to find out why. We're going to find out why. So just keep that in mind.
As Puerto Rico braces for Hurricane Dorian, President Trump sounding annoyed. Wow, yet another big storm heading to Puerto Rico, he tweeted. Will it ever end? The president has railed against the island ever since.
This is what made him look bad. And when I saw this, I was like, why is he doing that? Why? It doesn't make sense. But people don't really seem to look pissed off. They look like, hey, let me get some supplies. Look at the president. He came, you know. That's what it looks like. People don't really look pissed off. If you look at the, you know, the people, they don't look upset. So.
Since Hurricane Maria, when he tossed paper towels to storm victims and complained about the cost.
I hate to tell you, Puerto Rico, but you've thrown our budget a little out of whack.
Today, with storm preps underway, he blasted the island as one of the most corrupt places on earth.
But remember, he had a reason for this, and I'm going to show you a reason why. Everything comes to the light. So I will show you as soon as we are done this video. It doesn't show you in this video, obviously not, but I will show you what he was talking about, how and why Puerto Rico was corrupt.
Adding, I'm the best thing that's ever happened to Puerto Rico. His Democratic opponents speechless.
Now I want to point out how fucking convenient that Joe Biden was there to make a statement about what's going on in Puerto Rico during a natural disaster. I'm just telling you, wait till I point it out. You're going to be like, oh, it makes sense. Look at him. Him and Kamala had everything bad to say conveniently about this situation. And this is even before she was picked to be vice president. Okay?
It's bizarre. The comment's bizarre. He's the best thing that happened to Puerto Rico.
The president's message to Puerto Rico, FEMA and all others are ready and will do a great job. When they do, let them know it and give them a big thank you. Not like last time.
Once again, I'm going to point out why he said that. And conveniently look at her comments on this too. It just made her look like, oh my God, like, let's point out what he said and how he, you know, what he said didn't make any sense. And, you know, watch this.
I don't know. It's just something missing. He lacks the ability to have empathy or sympathy.
To make her look better. You're putting him down. Let's just point that out there.
Or concern. What is wrong with this person?
All right, Kira Phillips joins us now from the White House. And Kira, with the hurricane season in full swing, there's news tonight the administration is transferring more than $100 million from FEMA's disaster relief fund to support the immigration crackdown at the border.
That's right, Tom. But FEMA insists it won't hurt emergency response efforts, saying in a statement they will still have enough money to, quote, support operational needs. Tom?
Kira Phillips for us at the White House.
No, thank you. So I'm going to point out why he was saying this. Now, I don't know if you guys heard about this or if you guys are aware of what was going on in Puerto Rico, but we're going to see what was going on.
You know how fellas go crazy for the news.
So we're going to unmute it because it's about to hopefully let me skip in a second. All right, let's get into it. So it says Puerto Ricans protest call for governor resignation of Governor Ricardo Roselio. Guess why?
Thousands
Watch
of
this.
protesters in Puerto Rico's capital, San Juan, demand the resignation of Governor Ricardo Rosello. The reason? Some 900 pages of leaked online chats between Rosello and 11 of his aides and cabinet members. The messages revealed the men mocking women, disabled people, and Hurricane Maria victims. There are even jokes about bodies piled up in a government facility.
Se burlaron de nuestros cadáveres, se burlaron de la mujer.
They mocked our dead, they mocked our women. Now, they're saying that he did this, right? But you're going to see why. Watch this.
Se burlaron de la comunidad LGBT, se burlaron de gente con discapacidad física y mental.
This is Ricky Martin, and he's saying, you know, he's a fellow Puerto Rican as well. He said they made fun of obesity, they made fun of the LGBTQ community, they made fun of, you know, people that have disabilities.
Hablaron de la obesidad, basta ya, no puede ser.
It's enough, and this cannot be, basically, he's saying.
Rosello has apologized for the messages, but refuses to leave office.
I need to move forward and continue on the work that we're doing forward.
Puerto Rico has been in a crisis for a while now. Long before Hurricane Maria, the U.S. territory was in a years-long economic recession and had a history of fraud and widespread corruption among top government officials. This latest crisis just made
fraud and corrupt in the government officials. Guys, who obviously, if Puerto Rico looks bad during a disaster, that just makes the president look bad because Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. So let's just keep that in mind as well. This is all alleged, but this is what I'm thinking, right? This is basically what went down, right? So let's keep going.
This may be the final straw for the current administration.
Okay, so now we're gonna get into this video right here. Okay, let's just keep going down the rabbit hole, shall we?
Thousands of protesters in Puerto Rico's capital, San Juan, demand the resignation of
Sorry about the buffering, guys. This is too much. Sometimes StreamYard acts
Governor
funny.
Ricardo Rosello. The reason? Some 900 pages of leaked.
This is the same video. I'm sorry about that. Let's just take this one off. Now,
Hoy les anuncio que estaré renunciando al puesto del gobernador.
today I announced, effective Friday, August 2nd, 2019 at 5 p.m. that basically that he will be resigning his position. Okay. Sorry for the lagging, guys.
Efectivo el viernes 2 de agosto del 2019 a las 5 de la tarde.
This is people celebrating in Puerto Rico after that he announced that he will be resigning. People were happy as hell. Happy, happy, happy. Okay.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube.
All right, so let me stop sharing my screen. What do you guys think? Because think about it. I have another video that I have to show you, but I have to look for it. Give me 1 second. Basically, it gives the reason why another corrupt situation in Puerto Rico as well. So he wasn't lying when he was saying that Puerto Rico was full of corruption. Like, you know, when I was looking at this, I was just like, oh, that makes sense. Like this just makes sense. So I found it. Thank God. Let me share my screen again, and then you can see this one. So this is the video that I actually wanted to show you. All right, is it this one? Yeah, okay. This is what I wanted to show you guys. Okay.
Protesters filled the streets of San Juan, calling for the resignation.
Okay, you see that? It says Puerto Ricans protest hurricane relief supplies found after 2 years. Okay. People were going at Trump saying that he was insensitive and that he didn't want to help them and how he was diverting money, but he had already sent the stuff. And people were saying how he didn't send anything to Puerto Rico. Okay.
Of Governor Wanda Vasquez. The demonstration follows the discovery of emergency supplies sent 2 years ago after Hurricane Maria.
2 years. Look at this. All this water. Look at all this storage places full of supplies. Look at this.
Everything from water to tarps found in a warehouse on Puerto Rico's southern coast. Supplies desperately needed.
And when Trump said that these people were full of corruption, look at all this supplies just hidden in a warehouse in Puerto Rico while these people are suffering and dying and needing food. Like, are you kidding me?
When the country was recovering from the devastating hurricane. Governor Vasquez issued a statement saying it was unforgivable that the resources were kept in the warehouse. Following the discovery, she fired Puerto Rican Emergency Management Director Carlos Acevedo and 2 other officials. Relief workers are throwing out expired items but distributing everything else to areas affected by the recent series of earthquakes.
We are also in coordination with other municipalities because there are a lot of equipment here that can be utilized and prepared for preparedness in preparation for the upcoming hurricane season.
Dozens of aftershocks and tremors have damaged parts of Puerto Rico and forced over 8,000 people to temporarily live in outdoor shelters.
Fear knocked on my door, but I opened the door and I confronted it, and I'm still alive.
In response to the protest, Vasquez took to Twitter writing, "I respect the constitutional right of citizens to demonstrate. There is no need for the use of the shock force at this time." The governor has called back 3 squadrons.
Is she kidding me right now? Is she kidding me? You let these people down. Like, yo, like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, you let the people of Puerto Rico down. Like, you had the means to help them and you didn't even help them. Like, I don't understand what kind of people do this, but there's a special type of hell for these type of people because this is crazy.
Of shock force police originally dispatched to keep the protests under control. Emily Druby, Currents News.
And they also, I want to show you how, how they, basically made him seem and how they criticized him, how he wasn't helping and all that. Let's see. So this is right here. Check this out.
In San Juan's airport, an agonizing wait. No air conditioning, few flights, people desperate to escape.
The food is not enough, the gas is not enough, so everybody's fighting to get whatever is available.
5 days after the storm, and there is still so much danger. These people used a downed cable to cross to safety, their homes gone. This damaged dam in the northwest threatens to give way, causing more catastrophic flooding. Power remains out across the island. Satellite images before and after the storm show just how much of the grid is destroyed. Hospital generators are first in line for precious fuel, but it's scarce. The wait for gasoline, as long as 7 hours.
These are people that come from miles away. Cars without gas. Very tough, very tough.
With phone lines out, people crowd around cell towers trying to let loved ones know they are alive. Search crews can't communicate with each other. The devastation is wide and everywhere, says the island's governor. Federal agencies are
The governor he had to resign because he was corrupt. They found out that he was corrupt too. And then the other one, Wanda, which I just showed you the video of that we just watched, they ended up protesting her out too. Because what happened? They found all the supplies. This is the response when it first happened, and it was total BS. Like, he was acting right there because he knew that there were supplies. They had sent supplies. They had sent plenty of supplies.
ramping up aid. Boats and planes with fuel and supplies are arriving, but the governor stresses much more will be needed. He's asking Congress for long-term funding. Criticism of the Trump administration's response.
But then I just showed you the video of how they were holding all the supplies in a warehouse, and how Kamala and Biden got a lot of media coverage of what they had to say about his response to the hurricane and the relief and of how to help these people. I'm not saying what he said was great. I'm not saying how he said, oh, Puerto Rico was corrupt and just left it alone. It's not what he did, obviously. Look at, it ended up coming out later on before he ended up leaving office in 2019, how they were holding supplies. But this is what they were saying. Criticism to the Trump administration. You see how they were trying to make him look bad? These are the things that I wanted to show you guys, because I said it. Yeah, he might not be our president, but I'm going to point out all the BS and all the basically the hypocrisy. So
Is growing. Top Democrats, including Hillary Clinton and House Minority Leader Nancy.
Of course. Look at these two. Of course. Of course they would have something to say about this. Of course. Guys, come on. You know what I'm saying? I'm pointing it right out. I'm playing it out for you.
Nancy Pelosi have called on the military to send more ships and soldiers. The White House is defensive.
The response has been at an unprecedented level, and we're supplying federal assistance as quickly as possible.
That may be, but for many, the criticism is as much about attention as effort. With the president's Twitter account focused firmly on football, many Americans on the island of Puerto Rico worry they'll be forgotten. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News.
And then look at this is CBC News, and look at how dramatic this was played out. You know what I'm saying? They showed you everything underwater, and if this was really bad, I'm not even gonna say that it's still bad in Puerto Rico. It's still bad. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it hasn't gotten much better from this, but you see how they did the criticism, and I showed you the corruptness. I pointed out how they found the supplies in a warehouse. Like, I'm showing you the hypocrisy. I showed it to you backwards. Sorry about that. But I did show you. This is what the response was at the beginning. And look what I showed you at the very beginning of my video of them showing, the hypocrisy, saying, oh, basically that he didn't want to help, and how he was just throwing basically paper towels to the, people of Puerto Rico, and how, like they were just criticizing him. And I showed you, and look at the criticism here, how, the Trump administration's response. Are you kidding me? So what happened to the follow-up to this story, or the correction stating, we said this, but he actually sent stuff? And why wasn't it highlighted even bigger in the news, letting everybody know, hey, like we did say this about Trump, but like we found out that this is what was happening for real. No, there was nobody saying this. The mainstream media, they hardly basically put, they didn't shed any light on the situation, basically, when it came out that they had found the supplies. So I just, like I said, I'm going to do my best to point out all the hypocrisy. Let me know what you guys think. We covered the migrant caravans. We covered the hypocrisy about Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, how the governor was corrupt, how Trump said the government is corrupt in Puerto Rico, and what was happening? It was corrupt. They found the supplies. They found it in a warehouse. All those people were going through all that, trying to come to the U.S. afterwards and trying to seek basically a better life, or basically just trying to survive. And a lot of people came. There was like a surge of Puerto Ricans that came to the U.S. at that time after Maria, because their house was gone. Everything was gone. And if the government would have done their job in Puerto Rico, this would have never happened. Let me know if you agree, because I think I have showed you the proof, basically. I showed you the migrant caravans. I showed you the article about the man on Tucker Carlson's show stating that he actually went down to Mexico and saw it for himself. He saw it for himself. So look up Janet Osard on BitChute. If you don't believe me, she will point out everything about the migrant caravans. Okay? She will point everything out that I couldn't point out on YouTube. Janet Osard, and look for FALLCABAL. Look for the documentary and check it out for yourself. Always fact check everything. I could be saying something and you can find something different. But basically, I'm telling you that all this information is out there. Fact check it, go out, check it for yourself, and let me know what you guys think. Share if you care. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.